In the heart of Makeni, a bustling village in Sierra Leone where the scent of palm oil and roasted cassava filled the air before dawn, there lived a man named Kanda. He was a figure impossible to overlook, tall, broad-shouldered, with 3 deep tribal scars etched across his forehead, marks of his Temne heritage. His faded cloth shirt fluttered as he moved, whether stirring a pot of groundnut stew or clapping hands with children who ran to his stall. His eyes held stories of laughter, of loss, stories too heavy to share under the mango tree that shaded his modest cooking shed. Kanda's kitchen was simple, a wooden stall by the main road, with a thatched roof, 2 iron pots, and a clay oven that glowed with embers day and night. His food wasn't just sustenance, it was medicine. His pepper soup could hush a quarreling couple, his jollof rice could make a weary trader forget his debt for a moment, and his cassava leaves brought tears of joy to those who tasted them. Kanda fed farmers, school teachers, market women, and elders who swore his stew could ease the ache of old bones. He never turned anyone away. "Pay with kindness if your pocket is empty," he'd say, his voice warm as the fire under his pots. Widowed young, Kanda had raised his 2 sons alone. They were now studying in Freetown, living with their late wife's brother. He had no wife, no close kin in Makeni, but the village was his family. Or so he thought. The trouble began when Kanda's cooking drew too many mouths. His stall, once just another stop in the market, became a pilgrimage. Customers lined up from the mango tree to the bicycle repair shop across the dusty road. This did not sit well with Madame Fatmota, a wealthy food vendor with a shiny canopy and a radio blaring high-life music. Her tables were emptying, her coolers full of unsold rice. She called Kanda a juju man behind his back, her words sharp as the knives she used to chop her meat. The village watched as envy took root. When the local chief chose Kanda to cater a community feast instead of Fatmota, the whispers grew louder. When Kanda's name appeared on a government list for small business grants, only to be mysteriously removed, the market women stayed silent. Kanda noticed the changes, his water barrel leaking, his firewood refusing to light, flies swarming his stall despite his daily cleaning with bitter kola leaves. He heard the wind whisper his name strangely, but he kept cooking. His pots were his defiance, his stew a prayer for peace. One evening, under the cover of a palm wine shed, 6 women gathered: Madame Fatmota, Auntie Esatu, Mamiye, Hawa, Safi, and Auntie Kodiotu, who sold onions next to Kanda's stall but never met his eyes. They sat not as friends but as conspirators, their voices low, their hearts sharpened by jealousy. "He's taking our customers," Fatmota hissed, fanning herself with a cloth. "The chief calls him for every event now. Even the mosque requested his food for Eid. A man with no wife, no helper, shouldn't cook like that," Mamiye muttered. "It's not natural. He prays too much over his pots," Auntie Kodiotu added. "Christian prayers, Muslim prayers, even traditional ones. That's not normal." They planned in the shadows, their words weaving a net around Kanda. By the next week, his soul turned gritty, his stew soured before noon, and his most loyal customer, a school teacher, fell ill after eating his food, accusing him of tampering. Kanda said nothing. He scrubbed his pots, prayed louder, and kept cooking, even as children stopped running to his stall, even as he overheard, "Avoid him. You know what they are saying." One morning, Kanda felt a chill in his bones. He stood over his pot, stirring cassava leaves, but the meat didn't sizzle as it should. The aroma was wrong, too sharp, like sorrow distilled. He tasted the stew and spat it out. Bitter. He stirred again, tasted again. Still bitter. He opened his salt jar and found ash, grey and cold. His heart pounded like a talking drum. He stepped outside his stall to clear his head and saw her, a woman in a white cloth, barefoot, her back bent, her eyes unblinking. She stood across the road, pointing at him, then vanished into the crowd. That afternoon, as Kanda scrubbed the stubborn black mark from his pot, Auntie Kodiotu passed by without a glance. "Kodiotu," he called, "you didn't greet me today." She spun around, eyes narrow. "You're still here, Abi. With all this talk of your juju. People are sick from your food, Kanda. Your stew smells like poison." Kanda's voice rose. "Poison? Who's fed this village for 10 years? You know I cook with nothing but love and prayer." The crowd grew, faces hard as cassava roots. "Let the ground swallow me if I've used juju," he shouted. But the ground stayed still, and the village turned away. The attacks escalated. Kanda's pot was found with strange herbs he hadn't added. Children called him Mad Postu behind his back. Then came the final blow. 3 men, claiming to be market inspectors, stormed his store. They dumped his pots, scattered his pepper, and pulled a wrapped bundle from his cooler, shouting, "Juju. This man's feeding you charms." Kanda tried to explain it was just dried fish, but the crowd's murmurs drowned him out. Phones flashed, voices screamed, "He's been cooking jazz." The market elders banned him that day. His stall was torn down, his pot kicked into the dust. Not one person, not the elder he'd fed for free, not the mother whose child he'd soothed with soup, spoke for him. Kanda went home, silent. His sons in Freetown heard only, "Pray for me," before he changed the subject. He cooked under a makeshift shed behind his house, but the fire in his eyes had dimmed. 2 months later, in a crowded corner of Freetown, a small wooden stall appeared under a dead tamarind tree. No one saw it built, but there it stood, black and steady. Behind it was a man, tall, quiet, his tribal scars gone, his face smooth but familiar. He wore a faded shirt and no shoes. They called him Poor Night Food, for he opened at 7:30 p.m. and vanished by 10:30 p.m. His food was perfect stew like memory, rice like home. No firewood, no assistants, just him and his pot. People ate and returned, drivers, nurses, students. He never laughed, just served, his eyes calm but piercing. His rule was simple: the innocent ate and left, the guilty ate and faced their memories. One night, a trader from Makeni, Pabrima, who delivered firewood the night Kanda's shed burned, ate at the store. By morning, he was gone, his body cold. A woman, Hawa's cousin, ate and vanished, her plate holding meat shaped like a burn scar. Those from Makeni who tasted his food began to whisper, "This tastes like Kanda's too." But his scars were gone, so they ate again and forgot. Kanda's son, Amadou, a student in Freetown, saw the store one evening. The man's hands, his quiet hum, it was his father. But his father had died in a fire, hadn't he? Amadou walked away, trembling, haunted by dreams of a burning pot. The 6 women from Makeni came to Freetown for a wedding, laughing in their matching osook. Their driver's car broke down near the store. Hungry, they smelled pepper stew and approached. The man smiled, served them, his eyes like still water. They ate, joking that it tasted like Kanda's food. By morning, their car was fixed, but within days, their fates unraveled. Auntie Aisatu collapsed, screaming, "Kanda, forgive me." Mami Ye fell into a coma. The others faced madness, accidents, or silence, all within a month. The driver, Poor Alpha, confessed to Makeni's elders. 3 men were sent to Freetown. They found the store, ate, and heard Kanda's old cooking song. The bulb flickered, the pot turned to ash, and the man vanished. They ran, the village mourned, and Amadou found a sign under the tamarind tree, for the hands that cook with love and the mouths that forget too quickly. Kanda was more than a cook, he was a blessing, feeding Makeni with dignity and care. But envy blinded the village, and they burned their own light. When justice is ignored, it simmers in the spirit, served one plate at a time. Let this tale remind us, never curse what you cannot create, and never let jealousy poison the pot that feeds you.